Kevin Wilson here, and welcome to my YouTube channel. And for all my newcomers, you are certainly welcome. I'm glad that you're here. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification, that little bell up top, and that way anytime I'm on YouTube or doing something, you guys will be notified, okay? What am I going to talk about today? Well, I'm actually going to talk about tone. Directly, I want to talk about overdrive and being played in gospel music. Overdrive and distortion, and those are two different things. Overdrive is not as heavy, is not as saturated as distortion. And for the most part, with me, if I'm playing something, if I'm doing something in gospel, I won't use a distortion. I would use more of a overdrive, and if I have to push it, I'll push the gain a little bit more than if I wanted some more saturation. So that's my take on overdrive. And also what I like to use is some delay, but I don't like to use too much delay where the notes are being lost. So I like to use a little delay. I like to use some overdrive, and I'm going to give you an example. I have a track here that I'm going to play, and first let's listen to my guitar dry, okay? That's pretty dry right there. A little reverb on it, but no overdrive or no delay. Okay? And I'm going to actually be playing on my bridge pickup, right? Okay. Here is my overdrive. See it? Not too much, but you know, it's there. Here comes my delay. Now, we'll hear it up against the track, and you won't hear the repeats as badly as without. And normally, I probably would pull the feedback a little bit more, okay? But let me pull this track up and play against the track. So you get my drift? See how it's there, but not too overbearing. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually play a heavier overdrive over that same track, and so you can see how that sounds. And I'm playing on my bridge pickup. I don't have my, well, I'm gonna turn my volume all the way up. See, that's a little heavier. Okay, let's do that. And it works, it fits. You can still hear the notes clearly. The delay is there, giving it that wider sound, and you still fit the track. So listen, what's up, everybody? I see everybody popped in, and I see, boy, South Carolina. I see, where else? Other spots I see. I see some other folks in here. South Carolina. I need somebody else from Philly. Philly in the house. Austin. What's good, everybody? Happy Monday. What's up, man? Ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into, I'm looking at my comments. Dave Gilmore. Whew, that's saying a lot, Joseph. God bless you, my brother. Yeah. I get inspiration from everybody, and everything, you know. But I wanted to come on today because I did that clip, and I got all kinds of questions about my tones, how I'm getting these tones. You can kind of see I got my pedal board up here, and I'm going to share my screen here shortly. Detroit in the house. I am going to share my screen so you can kind of see, but it's not so much the unit itself, because I can use these. I can use these and get the same tone. It's just how you set them up. So whether you're using a stomp box, or you're using a multi-effects processor, or even if you doing a DOS, so if you in Pro Tools or Logic or whatever, it's actually how you dial that stuff in. Leonard, you made it! Yay! Hang on, I gotta give Leonard some love, y'all. Hang on, here we go. Give it up for one more time. Come on, one more time for Leonard. But yeah, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what you use. It's just how you set it up, how you tweak it, how you blend everything in. You know, these knobs are here for a reason. So what we want to do is take advantage of that. But anyway, like I said, welcome to my channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell up there, and that tells you when I'm doing something, because who knows? I may come on anytime. Like other Friday, I just popped on and we had some fun then. But yeah, so I want to answer your questions. So let's roll with it. I got my guitar over here, and I got two guitars that I probably will demo with. One with the pickups, the humbucker pickups, and the other one single coil. So yeah, let's hear from you. Good afternoon, Larry. What's up, man? All right. Distortion delay seems to be complement each other. Distortion and delay seems to complement each other. Comes to solo, but I guess according to how you set it up. Yeah, absolutely. No, man, I appreciate you here. I've been waiting on you. I'm glad that you're here. Leonard says he appreciate the love. But yeah, Joseph's talking about how distortion and or overdrive and delay complements each other. Actually, the delay gives it that ambience. It gives it that big, roomy, mm, um, stadium type sound. Even if you're in a very small venue, or if you tracking, or if you're at home. So I like to add some delay and a little reverb, and also I have some compression going on. I'm a big compressor dude. I love compression. I really do. I think when set properly, even playing like jazz and stuff like that, when you set it up right, it's amazing. Paul Jackson Jr. is a really good friend of mine, and if you listen to a lot of his stuff, he uses compression, and it's just wow. You can get that thing hugging you. It's almost like it's hugging you. It's holding on to you. So don't be afraid of compression. It's a good thing. Sarah Tardy! Hang on, we got to give it up for Sarah. Sarah done made it up in the room. Good to see you, Miss Sarah. But yeah, so when you talk about tones and different things, and yeah, you have the Helix, you have the Kemper, you have the Boss, the 100, and all of these other things, and then you have your stomp boxes and all of that stuff, and they all are great. I have an ME80, I have an ME50, and all of those things work as long as you go ahead and tweak and to create your sounds. He said, Mr. Wilson, you're my motivation. Well, I'm not going to give up on this guitar thing. Joseph, thank you so much, man. Listen, don't give up. Don't give up. Joseph said that I was one of his inspirations, and I appreciate it, and that's why I do it. I want to inspire people to keep going and keep doing what you're doing, because it makes a difference, and you never know. You never, ever, 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 ever know whose life you are touching or you changing with your instrument and your gift. So, boom. Absolutely. Keep pushing. Mr. Red, hey, what's up? Thanks for the lesson. Callie in the... Callie. Jay, should compression pedal be at the beginning? Okay, now you're getting into positions. You get, as preachers would say, you're getting all into my message. You're my message now. You're my message. When it comes to compressor on my board, now this is not absolute, because different things work for different people. So I'm not going to say right or wrong, but when I'm doing it, when I set up my board, and maybe I can go ahead and share this view right here. Hang on, let me see. Since you asked the question, if I can get this. See, now on this board, and this is my Helix, the way I have it set up is this first one that you see right there. You see me pressing on right there, right there. That's my compressor, okay? And then I have my overdrives. Well, this is another compressor. And then I'll go into like my overdrives and boost. See that? And then I have all of those. I have all of those before my volume pedal. I have all of those things, excuse me. I have all of those things before my volume pedal. And you may say, well, why do you set it up like that? I have my compression first because I want it hit first. I have my overdrive and my boost before the volume pedal, because if you notice, when you're using compressor or overdrive or something like that, you can get, it wants to be hit first, I should say, with as much signal as possible. So when that overdrive, and you notice if you turn your volume all the way up, your overdrive pedal reacts differently. So if the volume pedal is before the overdrive, it's not getting hit with the strongest signal. So it's not going to react the way it would if it was catching that full signal. So by me putting my boosts and overdrives and distortions and all of that stuff before the volume pedal, I can turn my guitar all the way up. The overdrive pedal, the compressor, and all of that stuff is getting hit with the ultimate signal, and then I can control what's going out, because so it won't be too hot going out to my amp, and then out to the public or wherever I'm sending the signal to. Then I can control that. Then after my volume pedal is my modulations, my chorus, a wah, and then I go delay and then reverb out. But that's why I set mines up the way that I do. Romarcus, what's up? Oh, look it in the house. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on, I gotta give 1, 2, 3, 4 some love. Hang on, here we go. One for 1, 2, 3, 4. And let me get Romarcus. There we go. My family's up in here. So that's why I think Mr. Red asked the question, how do I have my pedal set up, and where do I put my compressor? No, it was Austin. Please explain how to set up. Oh, Austin wanted to know how to set up a compressor. And I'll go back into that because I'm going to pull my board up so you can see exactly how we can go and tweak the compressor. So I'm absolutely going to do that. We'll do a demonstration before it's all over. So hang out. Make sure you hang out. You can't leave. If you're on lunch, tell them I need an extended lunch because Kevin Wilson's on and I need to be here to hear what he got to say about compression, delay, reverb, overdrive, guitar, amp, everything. Okay. So yeah. So make sure you hang out because we're gonna do some demonstration on how to make this thing work. And like I said, this is not absolute. This is just the way it works for me. So as we heard in the clip that I played earlier on, and for those who are just coming in, I played a clip of me demonstrating the overdrive and delay and compression and how I set it up. So go to the replay, go back and check it out, okay? Because we are live. We are live. Yep, and we got another question. Anyone else have a question? Let me spin up. Okay, come on now, y'all. Where is it at? Everybody being quiet. Everybody's getting real quiet. Okay. So are your guitar boards better than using? I'm not gonna say that, Joseph. I'm not gonna say that. I think processors are more convenient and they're a lot better than they were years ago. Because I'm here to tell you that I was one who was totally, and let me say this in the mic, I was totally against the processors. But you know what? They have gotten so much better and convenient. I can take my Line 6 Helix by itself and plug directly into the system and can create the tones I would if I had my pedal board and my amplifier. But you know what it takes? It takes time to tweak. I think I worked on one preset for maybe about 4 or 5 hours. Because what I would do is I would A-B it up against, when I say A-B, that means going from one pedal board to analog board to my processor, through my amplifier, and through my processor. So I wanted to make sure that everything kind of lined up and everything sounded sonically good, whether I was using this Helix or if I was using these stomp boxes like this, because, and this one is a great one. And by the way, I'm not endorsing any pedal company. like I said, any pedal company that you like, um, make it work for you. So, you know, but I've used a lot of them, and they all worked as long as I went in and tweak on them, and make sure that my setting. But you got to, and I know that's not proper English, but you gotta spend time with these things, because I've sold pedal boards that were amazing boards, but because I did not sit down and really work with these things, it was like a waste. It was a waste. And then I ended up buying another one, because I figured out it was operator error. It wasn't the thing. Don, whoa, hang on. Let's give Don some love. Don just popped in. There we go. What's up, Don? Good to see you, man. But yeah, so when it comes to these type things, your pedals, individual stomp boxes, different processes, whether it's like people be asking, well, how do you feel about the Helix compared to the Kemper? Or, what do you think about the GT100 or all these other processes? Listen, they right now in this day and time, they are all built to work, but it's up to us to they make them work, okay? So you can't say, okay, this is no good, this ain't work, if you don't really dig in. You got to dig in. Where should you place the noise gate? Hey, you know what? I absolutely. Leonard asks me, says, where should you place the noise gate? I don't have a noise gate pedal on mine. I don't have a noise gate. My compressor kind of cleans it up, or it's just whatever noise I send out is what go out. So I don't have a really use a noise gate. Jay, what's up? Give it up. Jay just came in the house. Came in the house. All right. Classmaster 74. What musicians have the best tones in gospel? Came in. Best tones. I can name a few great. And are you talking about Overdrive or just tone in general? Listening to different tones. Jay, is that Overdrive, or are you talking about just overall sound? Because there's a bunch of guys who have some great tones. Alton Hollis, great guitar player, and he is really into his gear, so he gets really good tone. Irvin Williams, Big Irvin, but Irvin plugs directly into his amplifier and get great tone. Sometimes he'll use like a Boss EQ, but other than that, he doesn't use a lot of processing or stuff on his guitar. Daryl Henley from Doc McKenzie has really good tone. And it's funny because with Daryl, I actually work with Daryl on his tone on his pedal board. He uses a ME80, and me and him work together on his pedal board. So it's him, and there's a bunch of guys out there that have really good tones. I really hate calling names because I'll forget somebody, and I don't want anyone to think I'm neglecting their tone or don't respect how they sound. Antone Porter plays with the Cantons, another one with great tone. Those guys they get it, they understand it. Okay, let me go back here. We have another question. Do you ever play guitar without effects at all? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because what you don't want to do, you don't want to make your pedal board you as a musician. You don't want the pedal board to dictate to you. So sometimes I'll just go and plug straight in my amplifier. Yeah, and boom, let's go. So yeah, I do that, and you should, because pedals can become a crutch. Pedals can absolutely become a crutch. Okay, Joseph, That was question was from Joseph. Would it be the same as Romarka said? Would it be the same as a compressor in a DAW? Yeah, because they do have a compressor. They have plugins that have compression that are compressors. So yeah, you can use compressor, but it's funny with me when I'm recording Romarcus, I'll use what I have here to create my tones. I don't really rely on the plugins from um, uh, the processor from Pro Tools or Logic or anything like that because I know what I have and I know what I use. I know what I use and I know how I'm going to sound. So I'll just go ahead and just use what I have. And most of the time, if I go to the studio, I don't even have this board close to me. I have a small board with some pedals on it that I will take and use that because not to say that engineers aren't good, but nobody knows your sound like you know your sound. Who knows your sound better than you? Really, you right there. I'm talking to you. Who knows your sound better than you? Nobody. Nobody knows your sound better than you. So you want to make sure when you go to play a session, or if you're going to play out, um, take your stuff, take your gear. Most of the time, when I go to do a concert and I talk to the sound tech, and you better be friendly with those guys because they can make or break you. I promise. The sound guys can make or break you. So you want to be real. Buy them a cup of coffee, bring them some Krispy Kreme donuts, bring them a towel, some bottled water. Treat them nice because they can make or break you. So make sure you're kind to those guys, and their job is really hard. So, but anyway, when I talk to the sound tech, and I do talk to the sound techs when I go to a venue, if I'm doing a sound check, I tell them, say, please, sir or ma'am, could you flatten out my EQ? And that's what I ask them. Just flatten out my EQ. And when I say flatten out my EQ, for those who may not understand what I'm talking about, we're talking about equalization, how they tweak, how your sound comes out. So I ask them to flatten it out. That means everything is just flat. I have a natural tone just the way I would if I was plugging into my amplifier. I don't want them to modify my tone at all. So I want the EQ flattened. Flatten that EQ out and let me control my tone. That way I know what's going to be coming out. Now, if you might need to tweak the volume or something, for the most part, just flatten out my EQ and let me do the work back here, and you handle the volume and the blend and all of that good stuff. Okay? All right. And chord progressions, say in a key of C, can you under what chords? Yeah, I can do that, Don. But today, what I'm kind of focusing on today is tones, and I will cover that because like I said, your questions that I don't get to in this particular live, I will cover in another topic. Okay, but I want to kind of stay focused on where we are and talking about tone and getting tones and what you know the things that you use and that will make a difference in your tone. But I promise I'm not neglecting you. I promise this will come up and we'll definitely be dealing with it. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I agree with you. I have used pedals, boards with 10 or more pedals, but the processors are getting better and more convenient and versatile. Absolutely. I can take my pedal board, go straight in because they have amp simulations. They have all kinds of amps. So, listen, I have presets. I wish you could see this stuff. I have presets. Let me see. I can't. I'm not going to show that. But I have a preset or set up. I have a Silver Sky. I have an Anderson, Paul Reese, all my different guitars. I have presets just for those guitars. Semi-hollow, hollow body, acoustic guitar. I have everything right here. So whatever the scenario is that I'm working with, I'm dealing with, I'm doing, it's right here. And I can hit a button and say, boom, that's where I'm at. So with a pedal board, you're not always able to do that with just these stomp boxes. But with these processors, the way they set up, if you take the time And I'm going to keep saying this. If you take the time and really dig into these things, I mean, really dig in. Like I said earlier, I spent 4 or 5 hours, maybe even more, on just one preset, trying to tweak it to make sure that my tones are correct. Because if you don't, it could be a disaster. And I got a disaster story that I'm going to tell you in a minute. Somebody remind me to tell the disaster story, okay? God bless you, sir. Trayvon from Maryland. Do you tweak your pedal settings based on guitar or pickups? Good question. Good question. He wanted to know, do I tweak my guitar based on the guitar or pickups? And the answer is both, because they come hand in hand. Hand in hand, they do, because the guitar will make a difference. If you look back over my shoulder there, you see one with humbuckers and one with single coil. The same setting won't work for both because the pickups are different. So if I'm doing, like, even here on my board, you can't see it because of the contrast. I have one on here that says Silver Sky, and that is just for my Silver Sky guitar. Because what I did was I went in and I built this preset just for my Silver Sky. So, because, Strat style guitars can be a little bright. So I EQ'd it and I worked in my overdrives and everything. Because even with the single coils, they don't have as high as output as humbuckers, or they don't have the warmth of a humbucker. Okay, so I went in and I tweaked it so I can, when I pick up my Silver Sky and begin to play it, it's not a drop off, and I won't say, "Oof, I wish I had to pick up this other guitar." No, I can hit this preset, boom, and there it is. It's set up just for that guitar. So to answer your question, it's both. Okay. Uh, you're welcome. Don said, "Okay, thank you. Came in late, man. I'm just here. I'm glad you're here, Don." Okay, as Jay Joyner says, as far as tones from amps, do you think a Fender Champion 100 is pretty good? That's why you're here. Fender, Fender 100s. I am a fan of Fender amplifiers. I'm not ashamed to say it. Excuse me. Do I have a deal with Fender? Nope. Am I looking for one? No. They just build great amplifiers. They build really solid, great amplifiers. I've always loved the Fender's amps. I love the twin. I love the deluxes. I love the hot rod. I love the bassman. I love the showman. I love the bandmaster. I love Princeton. I love one of my first amps. Okay, when I was a kid, was a Fender Champ. My mom bought me for Christmas, and I loved that amp. And I really wish I could find one that year again. And it's probably out there, but it probably cost an arm and a leg. But yeah, I love Fender amps. You're welcome. Stanley, let's. Hey, we got to give it up for Stan. Let me tell you something. Stan, I'm gonna tell you something about Stanley Ripken and Rips. Okay, Stanley R. Stan made me, I think, 5 or 6 guitar quarter-inch cables, and this must have been 10 years ago or longer. But if you look at my pedal board and at church, if you ever catch me at church and I flash my pedal board, those same cables I'm using to this day. His cable was so good that it probably ran him out of business because they never went bad. that's how good his cables were, and I still use it. I still have those cables and still use them 10 years later or longer. I don't know. It's been a while, but it's good to see you. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 says processors keep you from doing a lot of tap dancing. Absolutely. Turning off and on the multiple effects. Yes. Yeah, but you know, you can still tap dance on this thing because you're also turning on and off your effects. Because like when I set up this board here, if you I'll go back to this real quick. If I go let me go over here. Let me go over here. Show this. So if you look at this board, it's still set up just like I was to do my pedal board. I'm gonna click on these things so you can see. If you look down where it says bypass controller assignment, it actually shows the pedals. And you see, I have it still set up just like if I was doing my pedal board. See that? See those different things that I use? Right here. You see that right there? This is like a modulation. It's a chorus. Well, that's the retro, real. This is the chorus. I have 2 delays right there. Reverb, another reverb. But also, if you look at the path, the signal path, because this is the signal path, okay? It has these pedals up top. This is where I come in. This is where my guitar comes in. And we go all the way across, okay? We go across there and see how it curves down to the second path. And this goes directly out. If I click, I'm gonna click on here. That shows my output, okay? And what this output is an Xlr output. So if I'm playing and I'm going to my amplifier, this is a 1/4 inch out. 1/4 inch, not an XLR, but it's a 1/4 inch out. So if I'm playing and using my amplifier, my signal path will go through all of my pedals and then go out through the 1/4 inch into my amplifier, okay? But if I was going out to a XLR out to the house, this is the path it would take. It would go here and then curve, come down and go to my amp simulation, okay? And an EQ. And this, you can see where it's like XLR out. That's the way XLR looks. And it will go to the system and actually will pick up that amp tone because it's not an amp going through to the house, the front of the house, or going to like Pro Tools or something, my interface. And I'm using the XLR out and I want the amp simulation. But what you don't want, for the most part, you don't want your amp fighting another amp because it starts to sound ugly. It's really thin unless you really EQ and work towards that. But for the most part, what I'll do is I'll have an XLR out because they have an I keep saying XLR, but a 1/4 inch out. A 1/4 inch out here, and then your XLR out right here. So that will give me 2 different paths out. This one is getting the amp simulation going to the house, just like I had an amplifier, like it was being mic'd, but cleaner because you're not picking up anything that's going on around you. Like if you had a microphone and you're around a big band, you're catching the noise from the other instruments, okay? So that's feeding through your microphone, especially depending on how hot that mic is. So rather than have a mic on my amp, if I'm using this Helix, I'll have the amp simulation, an EQ, and then it goes out to the XLR, which feed them a very clean signal. And you're still getting all of this. You're still getting all your stomp boxes. You're still getting all of that. But they're getting this clean signal out without the interference of other instrumentations, okay? But as far as tap dancing, yeah, you still can tap dance on this thing because I'm pressing buttons and clicking and pushing and making sure that I have everything that I want. Now you can set up snapshots with this too, but that's another deal right there. So let me get back to some of these comments. Here, Stan said that's exactly what happened. Red Said my first amp was a Fender 112. Oh man, you had a good one, Red. He said the first amp he had was a 112 Deluxe Plus. Love those amps. And Stan said that's exactly what happened. He made his cables too good. Okay, so um, Sarah asks me, says, so if you are an absolute beginner and not gigging, what amp do you suggest and pedals are necessary? Listen, let me tell you something. Sarah, if you're an absolute beginner, don't worry about pedals. Pedals will come later. Pedals are just like, they're like seasoning for your food. You want to cook your food first, make sure everything is prepped, everything is good before you start adding on to that. So I would mainly work on or look at a good guitar, and you have a good guitar, having a good guitar, and also a good amplifier. They have some really good amps out on the market, and they're not expensive. Find you a little practice amp and get that. Don't worry so much about the pedals. That will come later. Well, I should have my fan on. It's hot up in here. Woo! Well, I'm just talking a lot. All right, Austin. Do you have? How do you reduce a tiny muddy sound with adjusting EQ? You adjust your EQ, your muddiness. A lot of times, I think the frequency may be around 250. Um, Pull down some of the lows. Um, Pull your lows down some. Start there, and then you can start. Um, from there, and just mainly just pulling your lows down to clean it up. And then also make sure that your guitar is set right too. Because a lot of this tone and stuff will start right before you even get to your amplifier. So make sure your guitar, your volume is set a certain way, or your tone is correct on your guitar. What type of guitar do you have? Tell me what type of guitar you got. No, I don't use snapshots, but I want to get into using. Sarah says snapshots are for chefs, but I don't use the snapshots. You guys are so funny to me. I love using reverb from the amp. I think reverb from the amp are better than reverb from a pedal. I do. I love reverbs. Most of the time when you hear me doing live stuff, I'm actually using a quilter. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you can see it. It's right here under my beautiful wife there. That's my little plug for my wife. But anyway, this is my quilter, and I use reverb. This is the reverb right here, and I use the reverb from here. I'm turning it on because I think I want to play some. Here we go. I'll use the reverb from the quilter, which is really nice, really nice. Give me a really lush tone. So I love the tone from reverb. But I do have some. I have like a Strymon reverb pedal. I have a Strymon. Yeah, what other reverb pedal did I have? I can't think now. I can't even think of the other Stompbox reverb pedals that I have. But I have a few of them. Oh, you're welcome, Sarah. Any more questions? Questions? I know we got some more questions. Well, I can grab my guitar and kind of demonstrate some of this stuff. I'm playing a beautiful Paul Reed Smith Custom 22 coming through my Helix. And and we can kind of demo some of these tones. I think we can. See, Stan, I should have one of your cables. There we go. Yeah, so this is pretty dry. Right? So if I go to another compression, see how it snatched that tone, tighten it up. See, go from that to. So that's using that compressor, actually using two compressors. Okay. I'm going to go to, let me go to my bridge pickup. Hit a sustain. Got the sustain. Okay, then I'm putting on an overdrive. See that? So now I'm going to go to my delay. See that? See that? So you're catching the compression, delay, and overdrive. Okay, now I'm going to go to a overdrive that has a little bit more saturation, okay? Let me tell you something. Great people, great, amazing people. When you talk about tone, everything matters. I mean, everything is important, down to your pick. Even down to your pick. Everything matters. Everything will dictate your tone. So don't think it's just a pedal board. It's everything. Everything. When I'm thinking about my tone, my strings make a difference. The pickup, the guitar, the wood of the guitar. I talked yesterday, I did a class yesterday, and I talked about how a guitar can actually sing without being plugged in. You can hear how it resonates. You can tell when the wood and everything is working together by just strumming the guitar. You can hear it resonate, and that will actually tell you how good that guitar is while actually plugging it in. So everything matters. So your strings, the nut of your guitar, your pickups, the wiring in your guitar, everything matters. The pedals, the cables that you use, because everything is running into your pedal board, running out of your pedal board to your amplifier or to your system. So everything is important. And if that signal path is disrupted any kind of way, it becomes a problem. So even a clean tone, even just a clean tone. See that? And that's just clean. With compression. I'll turn off the compressors. That's just without no compressions, just guitar. Add the compressor one, the red squeeze. And that's just one compressor. I'm gonna add another one, the deluxe comp. Squeeze it even more. And then you add your overdrive. Take and add your delay. Now I would use something like this if I was soloing. So I would use that if I was soloing. If I was just playing some block chords, I take the delay off. And you could even put some chorus on. Yeah. Oh, somebody reminded me about the horror story. Let me get up here so I can tell my horror story. Okay. All right. I was always been a stomp box guy. I'm gonna move up close. I've always been a stomp box type of guitar player, and I use a stomp. Oh, let me see. Okay. Reverb, Epiphone. Yes, good. Paul Reed customer. Yes. Is Stanley said, is compressors necessary for me? Yes. I love compressors. I'm going through these kind of quick because my time is running out. Um, Austin said Paul Reed Smith or PRS custom. Yes, it's a custom 22. Stanley asks, is compressor necessary for me? Yes, I absolutely love it. Do you have to have it? No, but I love using it. 1, 2, 3, 4. What quilter do you use? Is it the combo or do you use a separate cabinet head? Cabinet head is the quilter tone block 202. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. If you're able to get your hands on one, absolutely. It's convenient. I can pick it up. It's about that big. You can see that big, that big. Take it everywhere. It has a XLR out, direct out, so you can run straight into the board. Trying to figure out which one to buy. That would be the one. Austin, could you run through how would you set up effects pedal from distortion and delay? Yeah, let me see. If I have enough time, I will do it. If not, we could do a part 2 of this, and I can get into even pulling up the stomp boxes, and I'll definitely do that for you, Austin. Absolutely. Uh, Austin said, "Thank you. You are welcome." Sarah said, "Nice. You're welcome." Joseph Brown, Kevin, should you use a boost with your compression? Depending now, if I want to boost my, because what I do when I set up my overdrives, okay, and I think that everybody should do this, because what happens is when you use overdrive and distortion, if you don't um, set up for unity gain, what happens is that distortion or overdrive will jump out there and say, "Wah!" And you don't want that. So what I do is I'll set it up a little above my normal playing volume, so it won't jump up so loud where you scare everybody out of your seats or their seats. So what I do is I do what I call unity gain, and that means the volume that I play at, the level I play at. When I hit my distortions or overdrive, it's the same level. So what I'll use for my boost, if need to go into a solo and need to top it off just a little bit, I'll set up a boost to maybe 1 or 2 dBs above decibels, above what my normal playing volume is. So for in that case, Mr. Brown, that's what I'll use that boost for. Katina Owens, thank you. Good to see you. All right, Mr. Raisin, thank you for sharing. Oh, you're welcome. You hear it now. I love the sound with the compression. Yeah, it works. It works. I promise. I would listen. I'm not going to tell you guys anything that I don't do. I don't. I teach whatever I teach, or whatever I teach, I use and I play. Yep. Oh, you're welcome. You are welcome. Leonard said, thank you for everything. You're welcome. So during your gig sessions, you go through the box or your amp, or not an amp. I don't use an amp. Don't use an amp. Well, I do use an amp. I shouldn't say I don't use an amp. I use a quilter. I use the quilter thing over here. So I take this with me to my sessions. You look at, I did a session not long ago, and I posted some pictures and stuff, and you see my little small pedal board. I had an analog board, and I had the quilter. They had to do nothing. When I went into the studio and I plugged in, boom, they was like, whoa, man, that sounds great. We don't have to do anything to your, and that's what you like to hear. So find something like this or the Helix or whatever works for you, whatever is going to give you the tone that you're looking for, and make it work. But my thing, and I'm always going to say this, always going to say this, make sure that you take the time to learn this stuff, because it will not do you any good having it if you don't know how to use it. Got to absolutely, even if you're going to use these, 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 and they all work well. If you're going to use any of those, make sure you know what they do, because they have functions. But if you don't understand what they are and how they work, it's not going to do you any good. Listen, that clock is saying 1 o'clock, and I am so out of time. Listen, don't forget, Thursday, a clip will be coming out, and I will be covering something a little different. We may have to do it by your request. If you request it, you up the one down here over there. If you guys request it, I will do a part 2 and get more into the tone stuff, because I want to talk about amps. I want to talk about clean. I want to talk about reverbs and all of this different stuff that we do. Because I think Mr. Ray was asking about demonstrating how to set it up, and we can do maybe an hour with just that stuff and just clean and talk about clean amplifiers versus dirty amps and different things like that. So by your requests, and I'm only going to do it, I'm keep looking over here because I'm looking at the comments, but by your request, if you ask for it, but I got to see the numbers and make sure that it makes sense that for everybody, for me to just to cover different things. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. You guys have been doing great. I'm telling you, my, things are going really well, and I'm trying to answer everybody's questions. I go back and read the comments, and no, do I have somebody answering them for me? No, it's me that's answering your questions or your comments. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm answering your questions and your comments. So, because I want you to know, it does matter to me. It really does. So, continue doing what you're doing. Yeah. So, if you guys request it, and I have to see everybody, and get your friends and your neighbors and your cousin and them, your uncles and nieces and big mama might want to check it out too. But anyway, yeah, have comment. Let me know if we need to do this a part 2, and I would be more than happy to do a part 2. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. For my absolute beginners and beginners, the course is about to launch. The course is about to launch. It's about to launch. It's about to launch. I'm acting crazy, right? Yeah, so listen, my online course is about to launch. If you had not already, go to Kevin Wilson Guitar, kevinwilsonguitar.com, kevinwilsonguitar.com. Put your information in. When it hits, you'll get an email say, hey, the course is starting. And a lot of stuff is free. So you don't have to buy nothing, until we get into that real deep stuff. If you want to go deep with it, then, you'll be able to sign up for a paid plan. Yes. So yes. Listen, my time is up here, and I hate to go, but I got to go. Thank you for hanging out. Everybody on, I appreciate you guys. I love you. Love you. I appreciate your support. Sarah, everybody, start calling names. I'm gonna miss somebody, but all of y'all, thank y'all so much for hanging out. And please make sure you respond, because I'm gonna look. And if I get enough people say yes, part 2, then next Monday I'll be covering more on tone, and then we'll go from there. Good to see everybody. I gotta go.